What's up, interwebs? Welcome to the Storytime Podcast Season 1, where we're reading Angelic Wars, Legend of the Godchild. My first novel I've ever wrote back in 2004, 2005-ish.
Whew, that was a while ago.
Yeah, it's kind of not the first draft, because I wrote something else and I made changes, and it's weird. Maybe at some point in this podcast we'll talk about it, my actual process when I went through it, but not during the intro specifically. But today is episode 2, so we will be going through chapter 2. Adam is pre-recording these readings.
Yeah.
So it makes it a little bit easier for me when I'm putting them together. Also, to put the audiobook together, I don't have to go in and try to find where his reading begins.
Exactly. Also, it allows me to get into the character a lot more than doing this opening stuff and then trying to get into character.
Also, the fact that he doesn't have to code read the characters. He has a character sheet.
Oh, thank you. I actually know who the characters kind of are this time.
Yep. So he has a better understanding of the characters, so he can find their voice better, and all that. So before we get to the reading, if you enjoyed this, it would be great if you hit that like button. No, smash it and do it as a prayer to the holy algorithm.
The holy algorithm.
And subscribe because I got writing content on this channel. But with that out of the way, also if you like gaming channel, go check out Adam's
Please do.
ZOP Gaming. If you like people who are terrible at video games,
but we have fun,
but are stoners.
Heck yeah, we are.
So you can check that out too. But now we're going to transition into Adam's reading of chapter 2. Afterwards, we will come back and we'll discuss that chapter up, and we'll also kind of see how it leads into the chapter 1, or if it does or not. We'll and see that. So, here you go.
Chapter 2, Nightmare. Let's go, Lisa, Ken shouted, grabbing her hand and taking off down the road of the park. The couple ran as fast as they could, fear in their eyes, and not sure of what was going on. They ran past the soccer field and the swimming pool before Lisa could run no more. Ken, she said, stopping in the road and trying to catch her breath. I need to rest. Not here, he replied. With her hand still in his hand, they took off down the road that led towards the pool. After a few hundred feet, they came to the main building. They went around to the other side. Once around the second corner, they stopped and caught their breath. They were right next to the fence that connected to the building and went around the pool, with an overhead light just above their heads. Lisa stood next to the wall with one hand against it, holding her up. She looked to be about 16 years old, with shoulder-length red hair and freckles on her cheeks and nose. About 5'7", she was wearing a pink spaghetti string tank top with a light blue button-down knitted sweater, which was unbuttoned and hung low, with a black knee-length skirt and sandals. Ken stood on the edge of the corner, peering around it to make sure nothing was coming. He looked a little older than Lisa, probably around 17. His hair was dark and very short, which he shaved due to being on the swim team. 6 feet, 2 inches, he wore a gray sleeveless shirt with dark blue cargo shorts and sandals. He peered around the corner one more time to make sure they were alone before he turned and looked at Lisa. What was that thing? She asked, taking her hand off the wall and walking closer to Ken. I'm not sure, he replied. It was like something in a bad dream or the movies. Do you think it followed us? Lisa asked. I haven't seen anything since we got here, Ken answered. Also, we were running pretty fast. Whatever it was, it didn't look like it had legs. So unless the thing can move fast, we got away. I want to go home now, Lisa said. Okay, he said, but my car is back at the swings where that thing was. So unless you want to go back there, we're going to have to walk. My house is only a mile from here, she said. I would rather walk than take the chance that thing is still over there. Same here, Ken replied. I can come back from my car in the morning. Ken peered around the corner one last time. The coast was clear. He turned around and faced Lisa, and taking her hand, they began to walk close around the building. When they reached the next corner, he made sure nothing was waiting around it. Nothing there, Lisa, he said, turning to look at her, wanting to make her feel safe as he could. Once he was facing her, he saw a few feet behind her something was emerging from the ground. It was all black, like shadows, with 8 red eyes. Lisa! She turned around and saw the creature. She screamed before they both turned and took off running. She didn't get far when the creature grabbed her sweater and began pulling her back. Lisa quickly let go of Ken's hand and let the creature pull the sweater off from her. In the process, she fell to the ground. The creature, not liking that it only got a piece of her clothing, threw it to the ground and reached for her again. Just as the creature's claws were about to pierce her, Ken grabbed her by the arm and pulled her to her feet. They took off into the nearby woods. Dodging low branches, they ran down the path. After a few hundred yards, Ken's leg caught on a log, causing them to fall to the ground. Lisa fell as well since they were holding hands. Ken rolled onto his back, only to see this creature standing over him. It grabbed one of his legs and lifted him into the air. The creature pulled him so he was staring right into the 8 eyes. Unable to do anything, the creature brought up one of its claws and placed it right to Ken's throat. Just then, a stick was shoved into one of its eyes, causing it to drop Ken. With a thud, Ken hit the ground. He quickly looked up to see Lisa holding a long, sharp stick. She just shoved it into another one of the creature's eyes. Once Ken was up to his feet, she dropped the stick and they tried to get away. Before they got 6 steps, they were backhanded, sending them to the ground. When they glanced up, they saw another creature with 8 eyes. They quickly turned and saw that it was not the same one that had been following them. Now with 2 creatures blocking their way, they were not sure what to do, but it was only the beginning. A purplish glow came around the 2 creatures, and within seconds the 2 creatures had split into 4 creatures each. Now surrounded by 8 creatures with 8 eyes each, they still could not make it out. All hope of surviving quickly left the room, and they were filled by fear. Lisa was so scared she couldn't move. Ken realized that and moved over to her to protect her and tried to snap her out of it. "Lisa," he said, "don't give up on me." The 8 creatures started to move in on their prey when a loud shout came from above. The creatures looked up, as did both Ken and Lisa. A dark figure was falling from the sky towards them. As the figure came closer, it came in the shape of a man. The stranger landed in the middle of the circle. Dirt flew up into the air from his impact. The creatures backed off a little, but quickly took back their ground. When the dust cleared, the stranger seemed to be kneeling, but it was hard to tell with the little light in the woods. Also, he was wearing a black trench coat which was draped along the ground. The 8 creatures seemed to act different with the arrival of the stranger. Ken realized that their focus was no longer on him and Lisa, but on this new guy. With a quick movement, all the creatures moved in for an attack on him. Still kneeling, he was easy prey for them. Once the creatures reached him, in one quick movement of his own, the stranger pulled from inside his coat a sword and stood up and spun around, slashing all 8 of the creatures. The creatures stopped dead in their tracks, and the heads of all of them fell to the ground. With the blade held in the air, the sword began to glow bright blue, lighting up the whole area. His face was now able to be seen. He had a real serious look, with straight brown hair just below his nose. Lisa glanced away from this person who just saved her and Ken's lives. When she noticed movement on the ground, the creatures were not dead yet. They were starting to reform. Without hesitation, the stranger shoved his sword into the ground right in front of him. 8 beams of light shot out from the sword into the ground and came up right where the creatures had reformed. Once the 8 lights came up from the ground, they connected to each other, forming a circle. Once the circle was complete, lightning from the sky shot down in a full circle, striking all the creatures. The light that came off the lightning was so bright, both Ken and Lisa had to close their eyes. A few moments, the light vanished, and both opened their eyes. They were shocked to see that the creatures were gone, but even more, the surprised to see that the ground where they were standing was not even singed. The stranger had yet to move from where he was standing. He had sheathed his sword and was looking around the woods. It looked like he was trying to see if there were any more creatures hiding out there. Even though it was dark, it didn't seem to affect him. "Who are you?" Ken eventually asked. "How did you do that trick with the lightning?" Lisa added. "Let's get out of here," the stranger said, still not looking at them. After a few moments, he looked over at them. They were still shocked at what they went through. He walked over to them and stared right at them. "Get moving," he shouted. "Why did you help us?" Lisa said, who was now standing next to Ken. I do not have time for your questions, the stranger replied. You need to get somewhere safe. Even though I don't sense or see any more creatures, they could be hiding in the shadows. So let's get moving. Who are you? Ken finally managed to ask again. I am a friend, the stranger answered. It's my job to protect you from things like those creatures. Now, unless you want me to leave you here and let you take your chances with any more of them waiting to strike, I suggest you get moving. The stranger pointed down the path that they had come, so Ken took a hold of Lisa's hand and began to walk. The stranger followed close behind them. His attention was more focused on whatever was going on in the woods, trying to find anything that might try to jump them. After a few minutes, they reached the edge of the woods and the swimming pool. Once out in the open, Ken and Lisa turned to thank the stranger for saving their lives. So, can you now please tell us what those things were? Asked Lisa with a very curious look on her face. Something not of this world, the stranger answered. Now you two go back to the way you came and get in your car. I will keep an eye on you as you go. If anything attacks you, I will intervene. Okay, Ken said, not sure how he was going to keep an eye on them unless he came with them. Thank you very much, said Lisa, giving the stranger a big hug. The stranger didn't turn away or stop her. He hugged her back and released once she did. She backed up a few feet when Ken took her hand. Let's go, Lisa, he said. Okay, she said, glancing back at him. Lisa turned to face the stranger, only to see the creatures were back. Behind you! As the stranger turned around, he grabbed his sword and began to draw it. When he was completely facing the creature, his sword was only partly drawn. It was too late. The creature's claws wrapped around his body. Just then, the stranger shot straight up in bed, breathing heavily with beads of sweat on his forehead. His hair was bright blue, and his eyes glowed white with a tint of blue where the pupils were. As he sat there, slowly breathing less heavily, he looked around his room. It was just a dream, the young man said. After a few minutes of breathing, his hair and eyes returned to the normal color, brown. However, he did not move from the spot he was in. He was breathing normal, but something about this dream had really freaked him out. That makes 6 this month, the young man said. Why am I having these weird dreams? With the light coming from the shadows, from the window, he could be seen. He had on a gray sleeveless shirt that covered his toned and muscular body. He was no weightlifter, but he was in great shape. He just continued to stare at the same spot on his bed sheet where his feet were, trying to figure out what his dream meant or why he had it. He did not notice the door to his room open. In the doorway stood a young teen girl, around the age of 14. She had bright blonde hair down to the middle of her neck. She was about 5'6" and had on a white t-shirt that had the word princess written on it, with the words "Waiting for my Prince Charming" written smaller underneath it. Besides that, she had tight blue jeans with a black belt around her waist. She realized that she had not yet been spotted, so she slowly walked over to the edge of the bed. Once there, she leaned forward so her mouth was only a few inches from the young man's ear. Sage, it's time to get up! The teen girl shouted as loud as she could. Sage jumped up and almost hit the ceiling as soon as she shouted. When he came back down and landed on his bed, she turned and saw who had shouted in his ear. Now the girl was rolling on the floor laughing so hard at his reaction. Natalie, he shouted, why did you shout in my ear? Sorry, Natalie said after a few moments of trying to stop laughing. I couldn't resist when I saw that you didn't notice me. Well, if I wasn't awake before, I am now. Hey, Sage, a voice came from the hall. Catch me. A 12-year-old girl with a navy blue beanie on covering the top of her head with light brown hair coming out of the hat that reached down to the middle of her back came running from the hall into the room. She got about halfway from the door to the bed before she jumped into the air. Once she reached the bed, Sage grabbed her as she fell on him. Ah, Sage said. The young girl quickly got off him and sat on the bed. She waited for Sage to get up, but he didn't move. Thinking she heard him, she leaned over. Sage, are you all right? The young girl asked. I'm fine, shouted Sage as he grabbed her and began to tickle her on her sides. The young girl laughed as she squirmed to get free. After a few moments, Sage stopped and let the young girl sit beside him on the bed. She had on a black long-sleeve shirt and a dark purple short-sleeve shirt over it, with dark navy blue cargo pants. "Aren't you hot?" "Nope," she said. "Okay," Sage replied. "I'll never understand you. Always. Anyways, so, how are things going, Kiana?" "Okay." "What are you two doing here?" Sage asked. "Mom told me that you would be here later tonight." "That was the plan," Natalie said. "Until we reminded her we had no school today," Kiana interrupted. "Oh, that is not good. Because I have classes today. Also, I have something I have to do until about dinner." "Well, that's okay," Natalie said. "Kiana is going over to a friend's house later today and staying the night. She will be going to school with her." "Oh, what time is that?" Sage replied. 10, Kiana said. "Okay," Sage said. "Natalie gets to watch you until you go." "What?" Natalie said. "I have to watch her?" "Yeah," Sage replied. "I just told you I have classes I have to go to. When she is picked up, you're free to go, but not until then. Oh yeah, if you leave here, I want to know where you go." "Okay," Natalie said. "I'll just call your cell phone. The number is still the same, right?" "Yep," he answered. "Kiana, why don't you go unpack your stuff in the guest room?" "Okay," she said. "Once I'm done, can you make me some of your pancakes?" "If I have time before my first class," Sage answered. "Okay," Kiana said, jumping off his lap onto the floor and running out the door into the hall. Natalie walked over to the door and shut it after her. "So, what was that look on your face when I came in to get you up?" Natalie asked. "Nothing," Sage said as he placed his legs over the edge of the bed and then stood up. "You had another dream," Natalie continued. "What happened this time?" "This was the weirdest one yet," he said. "A teen couple about 2 years older than you were on a date in a park. When a creature made of shadows attacked them, they ran around until they went into the woods. After almost getting killed, they tried to run again, but were blocked by a second creature. Both had 8 eyes. It was then the 2 creatures started glowing and split into a total of 8 creatures. All had only 2 eyes. And they surrounded the couple when I came in and quickly killed the creatures. Well, cut their heads off. Before they started reforming. That is when I shoved my sword into the ground and light shot into the ground from a circle under the creatures. Lightning then came down on top of them in a circle." "That's cool," Natalie said. "You never had powers before in any of your other dreams." "Well, that wasn't the end of the dream," Sage continued. "After I got a couple out of the woods, the creatures came back and attacked me. But before I could defend myself, they grabbed me. That is when I woke up." "That is weird," Natalie said. "Even weirder than the dream where you were fighting that dragon creature in ancient Rome and you smashed through the walls and no one around seemed to see it." "I think that was because we were invisible to them," Sage said, walking towards the door. "When those dreams first started, I thought they might be things from my past, and still I started fighting these creatures." "I'm sure that you will figure out why you're having them," Natalie said. "When did they first start again?" "Last month," Sage replied. "I've already had 6 this month, and they are only 10 days into the month. Only had 6 all of last month." "So they're coming more frequently?" Natalie continued. "Maybe they're a warning that something bad is about to happen." "Possibly," Sage said. "I'll believe about anything right now. If I could only figure out why I'm having these dreams." "Wait, I just remembered something." "Is it from your past?" asked Natalie. "No. Last month, when I had the very first dream, it was exactly 7 years to the day when I lost my memory. I think I was right about these dreams being attached to my past, but they are some kind of metaphor, except in a dream." "It's possible," Natalie said. "I am sure that if you looked up dream interpretation, you might find out what they mean." "I think I will," said Sage. "I'll do it this afternoon after classes. By the way, what time is it?" Sage glanced over at his alarm clock and saw that it was 5 after 8. Realizing that he only had 25 minutes before his first class, and he promised to make Kiana some pancakes, he had to move. "Natalie," Sage said as he walked over to his dresser, "I need you to do me a favor. While I'm in the shower, I need you to make up the batter for the pancakes. I'll add my secret ingredient when I get out." "Okay," she said. However, it is going to cost you. I want to sleep in your room this week. I hate that couch. And Kiana always gets the guest room. Deal, Sage said as he pulled out a shirt and a pair of socks from the dresser, quickly ran into the closet, which was right next to it, and came out with a navy blue long sleeve shirt and a pair of shoes. He threw the shoes on the bed and walked back over to the door. You can unpack after you make the batter. Sage opened the door and walked out into the hallway and down into the bathroom. Closed the door, and moments later the water was running. Natalie decided not to waste time, so she headed down to the kitchen and began to make the batter. A minute later, Kiana came into the kitchen giggling. "What's so funny?" Natalie asked. "Sage is singing in the shower, and it's way off key," she replied. "You have to hear it." Natalie put down the bowl and ran down the hall to the bathroom door and placed her ear to the door. After a moment, she started laughing out loud. "That is one of the funniest things I have ever heard," she said. "Almost as funny as his reaction when I woke him up earlier today." "You should have gotten that on tape," Kiana said. "That way I could have seen it." "Oh well," said Natalie. "Pancakes will be ready as soon as Sage gets out of the shower." "Okay," Kiana said.
All right, Adam. So, chapter 2. We're now getting into one of our main protagonists, Sage.
Yes.
And Natalie.
And Natalie. And Kiana. Kiana!
No, she's a secondary character. No, she's the main character for the first few chapters. Then she's the secondary character.
She is the cutest and the greatest princess that has ever existed.
Oh, by the way, I had to ask you something.
She must be protected.
I didn't know there was a word called smaller.
Smar?
You went to say smaller for
Oh, yeah,
smaller
smaller.
print. You said smaller print.
You know what? You leave my pronunciations alone there, sir.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. It's the Skylar Grant elements in me. I had
exactly.
I had to. I kind of pointed it out.
By the way,
but-
you break a true what is it? It's a taboo in writing
What's that?
by having your book officially start because chapter 1's where you officially start. Prologues don't count.
Nope.
With a dream sequence.
We'll get to that. We will talk about that. We will talk about that. But yes, if you haven't listened to the first episode of this podcast,
Go back right now.
You
go
listen to that
that
one. But we agreed that that's better as a prologue. It is chapter 1 of this book.
Oh, yeah.
But it would be better if it was a prologue, and this started off. Before we get into the dream sequences and everything, because I do want to mention that overall thoughts of the chapter.
Very good. We get a pretty decent introduction into Sage as a character. Natalie, we see that there's a bit of a family life between them.
Yep.
You do a great job with introducing them as real grounded characters.
Which was surprising. Like, yes, there's going to be
The fact that Natalie immediately is like, he doesn't know I'm here. I'm going to mess with him. That is little sister energy.
Yep. So also, like, I don't know how I was writing Natalie at the point. I think I was just kind of envisioning a typical teenage girl, or like, because I worked with kids a lot, like not teenagers.
Yes.
But I was going to be working with teenagers because I was going to school to be a youth pastor, because this was during my Christian days.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know. Me too.
It's a bad job to have these days.
So, but like, she was kind of a bridge of a bunch of teenage girls I've known and tweaked in here, and kind of get right in some ways and then get wrong in a lot of ways.
It's okay.
Even for 2004, 2005. Because today, you're going to read this and you're like, no, that girl would have so much more attitude at 14.
That's what I'm already giving her.
Yeah, no, even more than that.
Oh, God.
So
I can't make her that bratty.
Kiana
She's
would
not having a brat girl summer.
Basically, the attitude that Natalie has now would be the attitude Kiana would have at 12 for current day.
Yeah.
For a 12-year-old. But yeah, so I was actually writing Kiana like my niece if she was 12.
Okay.
Because 2005, Brianna was just born. She was a little infant, but I was kind of envisioning what she might like based on because when she started to become a little more.
She has the biggest eyes ever.
She does. She did.
That's Kiana in my mind. Just
Yep.
huge eyes, anime eyes.
Yep. And everything. So, but yeah, I'm kind of surprised for my first novel nailing these characters because for my entire writing journey, I've never been a character first.
I know.
Person. It wasn't until later, like around the time I started working with Skylar Grant, or a little past finishing Skylar Grant, I started to make sure my developing my characters came much earlier in my developmental process. Basically, developing the characters as I was developing the plot. Mm-hmm. And so here's the plot, and then seven major steps later, here's my characters, and then they're just chess pieces following the plot.
Yeah.
Which I hate.
It's what's the word I'm looking for? It limits.
I'm sorry.
The characters.
Sorry, George Lucas. I don't care for my characters to be chess pieces. I don't know where I read that. That's how he says his characters. But I've always looked for that quote. I could never find it ever, but I know I read it.
Yeah,
somewhere.
I mean, look at those first 3 Star Wars movies.
Mm.
There was a lot of pieces being put in spots.
Look at those first 4. Referring to episode 4 and its actual place.
4, 5, 6?
No. 4, like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh.
In the order of the actual continuity. So you got the original, the prequel trilogy.
It didn't always. Actually, yeah, shit. That one also has the same problem.
Because that's Lucas. But then you get to episode 5, and all of a sudden it's not like that. That's where the characters really get fleshed out in the later episodes.
Yeah.
Lucas didn't fucking direct it or write it.
Yeah, that's true.
He did have say in everything and confirmed everything, but he didn't write.
Because we get Luke's character development.
Yep.
We get Leia's character. We get Han character development.
It's literally in episode 5 where Luke's no longer a bratty teenager.
Yeah.
So
glad that he got over that real quick.
Something about Lucas and his characters being bratty.
He's in his brat era.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
Luke never left his brat era.
But yeah, so I was kind of surprised how some of these characters, how good they came up. But there was a problem with this chapter right off the bat.
Oh, really? What's that?
I've already spoiled the mystery for Sage in his story arc in this. I thought I was trying to be clever with this.
No, you're not.
I'm not. Back then, I thought I was writing this in a way because one of my first notes is on point of view. Why is this dream sequence for Sage coming from different people?
I know.
Not Sage, who is apparently this person who just drops from the sky.
Especially when he retells it and he's like, yeah, all of those creatures just attacked me.
Yeah.
And they're like, yep, thanks for giving that away.
Yeah, so we're not told who he is, but it is a spoiler for what is going on.
He wakes up with blue hair and white eyes?
Glowing blue eye.
Yeah.
Glowing blue hair and white eyes with glowing blue where the pupils are.
Yep. Yeah.
And the irises. They're supposed to be irises, but they said pupils for some reason. So, but okay, let's get to the opening up with the taboo. Because I didn't actually read about starting your novel off with a dream sequence as bad until like 2014, 2015. When I actually rewrote this whole series as the Veil trilogy. I actually wrote a draft. I was actually starting to write it, and oh wait, I shouldn't have a dream sequence open this. Crap, I gotta rewrite my outline.
The best part is,
but in 2004, 2005, I don't think it was as big of an issue. Yeah.
Who knows?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know, but I never heard never actually seen that being an issue. Never heard of it. Also, the internet wasn't the way it is now, where you could quickly find out back then. There was not a lot of stuff on writing a book or tropes or things that didn't work.
Those days,
online.
you truly did have to ask, if only there was a magical device that could give me all of the information of the world right here.
And there was a thing called, for at least for writing, there was a thing called, it was called books on writing a novel. You may not have them in your bookstore, but you could find them on
But
Amazon.
it wasn't a magical device.
I know. It was a magical tome
Yeah.
that you actually had to have a physical thing and open up and turn pages.
That's so much work.
I know. I gotta turn a page. Oh, my life sucks.
Can I just press a button and it's read to me?
I know. But yeah, so I don't think it was as big of a deal. It doesn't, for this book, it's not as big of a deal because it's technically not chapter 1.
Right.
Because we did have chapter 1.
Yeah.
But if it was rewrote the chapter 1 as a prologue, then I am opening it up with a dream sequence.
I mean,
and it would be the wrong way to do it.
The best part about this is that you can have a prologue and the beginning of the opening chapter as very horror level thing.
Yep.
I hope that's not coming through.
Yeah. Great.
Probably not. All right.
It's amazing sometimes how that door sounds a lot louder, but it doesn't get picked up.
I know. It's wonderful.
But yet the air conditioner or fan behind me,
That used to get picked up badly.
yeah. And so sometimes it does.
Sometimes it's still there, but I don't care anymore.
I know. But yeah.
I want to be comfortable in the recording area.
Yeah, so would I. So do I. So, but like, yeah, it's just... It's interesting.
No, but like you could easily write that opening in a very horror style.
Yep.
Where you tell it from, either Lisa or Ken's point of view.
Yep.
And they can't fully describe what these things are. It's just shadows with eyes.
This is the
Claws and
every version of this story I've taken and redone, like with the Veil trilogy.
yes.
This is redone. I keep it.
The
but it gets
8
changed.
creatures with their 8 eyes.
We'll get to those in a second. Gets redone. It's done in different ways, but all the future versions in the Veil trilogy
Yeah.
is done correctly.
Oh, it's from one point of view for mostly?
It's done through a main character point of view. But
Without revealing?
no, you know who it is, but it's not revealing the secret.
Yes.
It's more showing what she is. And you know who it's her.
She? And a her?
It's fine. It's Kiana.
Oh, okay.
She is a seer and she's reliving an actual event, but she hears another person's name, but you get it from her as Kiana and experiencing what she goes through. So it makes sense for seeing this part. So when the person falls out of the sky, but this time it's in a city alley, you're not, and when she wakes up, it's not, oh, it was that guy.
Yeah.
And there's a mystery of who that person actually
Yes.
is and everything.
You've seen this person in your dreams
Again.
a bunch of times.
First novel.
First novel.
So, okay.
Let me first try on this story.
Yep.
Understandable.
Yeah, I actually wrote down my notes this dream point of view for Sage. What the fuck?
Yeah. Especially since I read it immediately that he's falling out of the sky, so he may not be physically in the other form.
Yep. Also, I have on here
Spoilers.
description for Lisa versus description for Ken.
Yeah, seriously, did it need a paragraph to describe what they are?
Yes, apparently.
Okay.
Apparently so. Because that's how that's how new writers believe you're supposed to do it.
Yeah. No,
And you can do it that way. It's depending on how you want the flow for your character, your story to grow. This should not have been how it is because it's a very
she's
intense.
5'6", 110 pounds.
I could have gotten over.
She's wearing running shoes. Her boyfriend is Ken, 6'5".
Yeah.
It's like you gave their stats.
I know. I could have gotten the
Excellent swimmer.
I could have gotten away the way that they're tall by when they're going through the woods, having to avoid branches or something because of their height.
Yes.
And blended it that way. But getting them, like, at least their hair color or something like that. Descriptions. I know I had to get the description at least so we knew the sweater. But now that I think about it, she could find out she had a sweater.
Yeah, when it was being torn away.
Yeah.
Leaving just her tank top.
Yep.
You don't even have to say spaghetti strap. It's kind of assumed at this point that most women's tank tops are spaghetti strap.
At the time I wrote this,
I know, it was still new.
It wasn't.
Bare shoulders are still a very controversial thing.
I know. It's weird. Oh no, you see your clavicle. Oh, shut up. But yeah, so that was like the descriptions. But
sorry, I chuckle over that being a tough thing, and I'm like, I
know.
Oh, come on.
But my main thing was like, originally I was writing down because Lisa gets a full description. Oh, Ken, a brief, and then you're like, oh no, I am going to description on him.
Yeah,
but it's not as much as I did for Lisa though.
No, but at the same time, it's worth it.
Yeah, but I didn't. He's
a swimmer. He clearly shaves his body.
Right, yeah. Obviously, finding a way. This was seen as the best place to put it, but I could have woven it a little bit better.
Probably.
Little glimpses. Her red hair.
Yes,
I could have gone here.
Her red hair glinted in the moonlight.
Glinted off because I said an overhead light. It's a street light that was overhead. I should have said street light, but why I said overhead light? No, there's a light just hovering there in the space.
I thought it was attached to the wall that they were leaning against.
Because I showed you where I based it off of.
Yeah.
In that little section off to the side, there's a power, I think a power kit total. There's one coming off it because there's cables that go through there. That's what it was there. But yeah, you thought interesting way that you saw it there, but it hovers over, but technically, based on the description, it's just there, not attached to anything.
You know the lights that I'm talking about on the side of a building.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not necessarily straight down, but it is meant to cover, outside of the door.
Because we mentioned that it's the wall of the building.
Yes.
For the pool, and
that
then
they're also leaning against.
And
she's trying so hard to catch her Beth. Beth.
She's trying to catch Beth. Who's Beth? I didn't know there was a Beth in this scene.
She can't. Her breath is so gone that she can't say the word breath.
Wait. Are you telling me Lisa and Ken left Beth behind to be sacrificed to these 8-eyed creatures?
Sometimes you have to just let the slow one
Sometimes
go.
You gotta let the third wheel go.
Yeah, exactly.
So you guys can survive.
It's like, go. They tripped her.
So let's talk about the 8-eye shadow creature.
Oh, yeah.
Because apparently they had 8 eyes, but then later on, 2 eyes? Each?
Yeah, when somebody describes it later again, they become suddenly 2-eyed creatures after they split into 4 creatures each. So the 8 creatures.
So that was a mistake, clearly, because I originally had the idea that the 8 eyes, so when they split into 4 creatures, they would all have 2 eyes.
Which means that they could split into 8s and have 1 eye each.
So this way they would...
one all-seeing eye.
Yeah, so there'd be 4... So 2 creatures, 4 each.
Yeah.
Making 8 and everything. But I clearly, when I wrote this, I forgot I left the 8 eyes in there and wrote the waking up one at a later time.
Yep.
Or by the time I got to that point when I was writing it, I forgot. And
I still like...
I wrote that, but...
The fact that it's 8 red eyes on these things, like, first of all, anything that's bigger than, I don't know, my pinky that has that many eyes is scary.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are.
I'm sorry, I'm going to give you guys some spoilers here.
What?
Those 8-eyed creatures, they never show back up in this book.
What? Here I am already hyping them up and looking forward to the next time they attack people.
Because they may or may not be something else.
Okay.
Something else, but because I left the 8 eyes and they are apparently completely different creatures now.
Okay.
But yeah, that was interesting. Also, I wrote on here, Ken is so brave. Lisa is brave.
I know. Lisa stabbed it and then stabbed it a second time.
And then afterwards,
and Ken's like, let's just run.
But then
which I mean, I also understand that as a
after that they get surrounded, Ken putting himself in front of Lisa. I'm like, okay, so Ken's a little brave.
He at least is trying to do the kill me first.
He found his spine when he couldn't run away anymore.
Exactly. His first option is get away from the danger.
Or he was just trying to shove Lisa to the person behind him. So she would get killed by that one. Maybe.
Lisa, if they attack from behind us, it'll be you first.
Yes.
All right. I got this side. You got that side. And she's like, what are you doing? Wait, what? No, I don't have my sharp stick anymore.
Also, the hair below his eyes appearance.
Yeah.
Of the mysterious guy.
By the way, he had straight long hair below his nose.
Below his nose. Those are long nose hairs.
That man has a glorious mustache.
A glorious mustache or long nose hairs?
It's a mustache.
It's his hair from his eyes.
J. Jonah Jameson is jealous of that mustache.
It's not a mustache. It's supposed to be his hair comes down below his nose. Comes down to his nose.
But it's still super long hair.
Yes.
And this is Ken?
No, this is Sean. This is Sage.
Sorry, no. This is the mysterious person.
Who Sage says this was him.
Yeah, immediately is like, oh man, that was a weird dream.
But why is he brown hair, but when he wakes up, his hair is blue?
Yeah.
Glowing blue.
Glowing blue. But it goes back to normal brown.
Yes. Glowing brown. Yes. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But yeah.
Yeah.
I do actually have the name of who he is here, but I'm not saying that.
Nope. Nope.
Because that's
a spoiler.
That will be a spoiler because we don't know that.
In the immortal words of Dr. River's song, spoilers, sweetie.
Yeah. And what is this? Okay. Here's my question for Ken and Lisa. How stupid do you have to be to start asking fucking questions to the guy who saved you after he said, run?
We have to leave.
You gotta leave.
Let's go.
Move. But who are you? Why are you here?
I need help.
It's just like, God damn it, Donut!
Yes.
God damn it, Mongo! Sorry, I had to throw
picks
Mongo
Mongo up, throws Donut over the shoulder, and Carl starts running.
Right. Yeah, we gotta throw some Dinner Carl in there because we're going through them again.
Yes.
So
I'm back on book 2.
But honestly, that's what I kind of picture this mysterious person wanting to do.
I'm sorry, you imagined him wearing just a pair of boxers, barefoot.
What do you think he has underneath that trench coat?
And only wearing the trench coat. Actually, I could totally see Carl getting a trench coat.
Yeah.
Something that technically protects his legs.
But it's one of those trench coats where it cuts off the side, so it goes off the side so you can still see the hard boxers.
Oh, of course.
And he's like, God damn it.
It's got the front cutout section.
Yep, he's like, God damn it, you couldn't get me one that covered at least covered.
Nope.
Nope. So
we need to see those tootsies.
So we covered the dream.
Yes.
So this is all flows into one long thing, when it should be scene breaks.
Yes.
As a scene break here. If you haven't read the first chapter, gone through the first episode of this podcast, I mentioned I am transcribing this due to something stupid I did back years ago. I can't copy and paste from the PDF of this book.
He tried to rotate a PDF and it damaged the system. Then he was like, you know what? I'll fix it by dividing by 0.
No, I got what it was I got one of those all new writers fear of someone trying to steal my work. So I wanted to encrypt
you
it.
Locked it.
I locked it, and then I
never
got rid of how you unlock the encryption.
Yeah.
So
that's just bad.
If I copy and paste, I get all these weird alien symbols and everything.
Oh, the alien symbols.
Yes. So when I rewrote this chapter, I broke this up into 2 scenes.
Smart move.
A little bit, and I think I make the transition a little bit more because in this it's abrupt. It's not. It's like stab. He shot them which is cool.
And he shoots out of bed.
But I make it like they grab it and it grabs Adam and kind of almost finish the thought. I think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, and then we get to the scene break where he shoots up in bed.
Okay. That's much better.
But yeah. I already made fun of you for your pronunciation of small.
Yeah, we went over.
So apparently he can fly.
Yeah,
because he almost hits the ceiling.
I know.
And I like the thing, literally hits the ceiling. No, I'm going for that metaphor. He was so shocked he almost hit this, but he lands in the bed, back in the bed, like.
Yeah.
I get it
first.
Yeah, I get it. Like I'm going. There are times where you can be like you really do leave the seat, but you don't go. It's like maybe an inch.
Yeah, you're not out of everything.
Apparently, he's flexible enough to get his feet underneath him and hit feet first. Like yeah, I know. So like yeah, that's supposed to be the pun there of, and the is it a metaphor?
It's more of a simile. No,
I can't remember the literary term for I'm looking for here.
Oh crap! And I'm having ADHD.
Yeah,
where I completely blank on. I can describe what it's supposed. It's where you say something that isn't true. It's an exaggeration.
Exaggeration. That's what it is.
But there's still a term directly for it.
But exaggeration works.
Okay.
For now.
You exaggerated how far he was jumping out of bed.
Apparently I made it literal. The way I wrote it.
Yep.
So, that's not a spoiler for later.
Nope.
I wrote down on here, let me ask you this.
Okay.
What do you think of the relationship between Sage, Kiana, and Natalie? Your thouts based on this chapter alone.
The way I look at it
Clearly,
is...
I know more, but I want to get your
older brother / young uncle. Like, that's kind of where I put him with the two girls.
Okay.
Like, he is like a much older brother. You know, clearly he has classes to go to, so he's somewhere like college-ish.
Yes.
So he's probably in his 20s.
I believe he is 22.
22, okay.
Because that's how old I was when I wrote this.
Okay, so 22. He's 8 years older than either his next sister or being 8 years older than your oldest niece also makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting because this is a little bit of a spoiler, but it's not that big of a deal because we'll get into that
I'm not saying that he's dating their mom.
It's a little bit of a spoiler, but it's not like I can't believe you told us this. They are his adopted sisters.
Okay.
Because he mentions this one, he lost his memory.
Right. We do have. It's been 7 years.
Yep. Though I think at some point later in the book I mentioned it's 5 years, but
okay,
I'm not sure.
I like 7 to 10 is a good one because that would put him at like 12 years old.
He was adopted because basically you kind of get the impression the Richards families was the last name were foster care, and they found out that he forgot his memory, and they took him in and eventually adopted him.
He has no idea who he was before he got here.
I bring that up because while I had that kind of approach for the older brother for Kiana, I was going for older brother, but there's a kind of a friendship between Natalie and Sage.
Well, yeah, because there's enough of a gap between them.
No, that's not the reason I'm going for that. I was going for that more like a friendship there, as in. Because in this one, she clearly knows about his nightmares.
Yeah, that is kind of also a weird thing because, Natalie and him talk to each other as if she is much closer to his age. While Kiana, he treats like she's 10 years younger than him.
And that's what I was trying to go for, like... Okay, yes, he does treat her like a sister. Oh, yeah. You'll see things in later chapters but there's also things where he's that big brother, but also kind of a friend. And everything I was kind of going for. We'll have to see as the story goes on if you think I achieved that throughout the entire novel.
Okay.
Did you think that came through here?
I had it that he saw Natalie as older and more mature than you have her written as her age.
And she is and she's not.
Exactly.
You'll find out in
she also
chapters.
was written as if she's slightly older and mature than her age. And she knows things. Well,
because the idea of you had another nightmare.
Well, Kiana is absolutely the picture perfect princess innocence. I am going to protect her with all of my existence.
Which also kind of the way I described her clothes goes against that also, except for the princess t-shirt. But the more of a skateboarder look.
Oh no, absolutely. But no, like
That was supposed to be her story in one of my unwritten sequels. She was supposed to look like that. She was supposed to be more like Natalie dressed, kind of princess thing. If I remember correctly, but I forgot I put her in here, and I wanted to change that for that. So I was gonna have to rewrite that here, and I forgot I didn't read. Okay, so, but yeah, that was supposed. This look was supposed to be coming later on.
oh, okay.
And she was supposed to be more.
Fine.
But the princess thing is her character.
Oh, yeah, no. When I say princess, I mean she is the protected daughter.
Yes.
Of this group.
I was going for the idea of she is the innocent one. Like,
oh, yeah.
Even though she's 12-year-old, and
she
at 12,
pure innocence.
In 2004, some teenagers those age were a little bit more less. They've kind of lost that childlike innocence, but they were.
She won't lose it.
No. Not, I'm talking about overall, like for the time.
No,
period.
I know.
Some of them had that innocence still of naivete. I cannot.
Naivety.
But I wanted to be kind of sound
Yeah,
smart.
no. I know the other one, and I don't like using it because it always sounds bad whenever I say it.
Yeah, I wanted to sound smart, but I clearly just butchered it. So nativity, that naive, this. But the majority had that still, but in 2004, 2005. But some didn't.
I know.
Now, if you look at 12-year-olds, no, they don't. No, nope, gone. That was gone.
None of you are innocent
9
anymore.
That was gone at like 8.
You know what I blame it on? I blame it on TikTok and Vine.
I blame it on
Gen Zs.
you know what I blame it on?
What?
5G.
Oh no, we can't do that.
Oh, we can't.
We're more serious here.
Oh yeah, you're right. We can't. My bad. But yeah, so I was going for that like naive 12-year-old girl who some of her friends might be trying to move on to that teenage age, but
totally.
she hasn't.
She's still like, you know what? I enjoy
being a kid.
Watching Nickelodeon in the afternoons, and they're like, yeah, but what about these other cool shows? And it's like, I don't care.
Oh well, we have some scenes where you'll see how like she is later on.
Clearly, Sage is that kid that watches way too much Dragon Ball Z.
Yes. But yeah, so but yeah, that's what I was going for, and I want to, as we go on, I want to see if you think I you get that tone of siblings, but friendship for Natalie.
Okay.
And protective over brother,
protective older brother
for Kiana.
I will burn this world for her.
That almost covers everything. Do you have anything else before I bring my last thing?
What's your last thing?
You don't have anything else?
I got nothing
Okay.
else.
So my last thing is POV. Whose POV are we in this chapter? Because it seems like we're in Sage's, but at the very end we suddenly jump to Natalie.
Yeah.
Which will come into play in later chapters when I actually do scene breaks and do that divide for a POV break. But they're also gonna, not just this here, but other chapters where I go seamlessly into someone else's POV, like I'm head hopping.
What the hell is going on over here?
This is clearly a different, like I should have been like, Sage goes into the shower.
Yep, break. This is a Natalie point of view
yeah.
from now on.
I don't think I actually did that in my transcribing. Probably should go do that. Because my transcribing for this thing is kind of complicated.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep it as close as to the actual novel, but at times I'm like, I need to refix that. And other times I'm like, nope, I'm going to keep, I know I would fix this, and the last time, I'm keeping it the same as it is. Nope, I'm fixing it. Yeah, no, I'm not.
Fix.
And other things, yeah. I did eventually go to, if it's a point of view change, I'm fixing it.
Yes.
I know in later ones. So I will have to come back if I didn't to fix this one and make it its own for that. But yeah, it's kind of one of those, suddenly we head hop.
Yeah. It happens.
Yes. But there's not enough of a break to do it. I'm actually impressed that there is a little bit of you kind of get a, where it is a new sentence, new paragraph, but it's not, it works, but it should be more defined.
Yes.
That we're going, okay, scene break, Natalie, and everything. But All right. If you don't have anything else,
No, I don't.
what did you think of this chapter? What do you think compared to chapter 1 if you did go through that first episode? How you compared? Actually, you know what? Before we wrap up, Adam.
What?
How do you compare to, you think it compares to the first chapter?
It's on par, bro.
Okay. Like
you have a consistent story going on now.
and good introductions?
Yes.
Which we found out I was good with Skylar Grant.
Exactly.
Let's see if
Your introductions are really good.
Let's see if when I was at the beginning, if I can actually do something couldn't do with Skylar Grant, and actually,
Bridge to the third act.
actually, a bridge to a third act, or at least bridge to the climax with stuff actually building towards it instead of going, nope, we're going to it, because I know what it is now. Okay, now we're gonna wrap up the podcast here.
Okay.
What did you think of it? Did you think it was as on par with the first chapter? What do you think of starting this chapter out with a dream sequence?
Every chapter needs to be a dream sequence now.
Keeping in mind that this was written back in 2004, 2005 ish time frame, because I know this is not the actual final one that I did, and should have kept it, but somehow this one got the one like transferred over to a PDF. Let us know in the comment section. Let us know what you thought of the relationship between Sage and Natalie. Did I hit my goal for this, or did I kind of do more like Adam? Like, yeah, but there's that uncle part, but I wouldn't say more uncle than friend.
Right.
Let me know, okay? If you did enjoy this, I would love it if you'd smash that like button and do it as a prayer to the holy algorithm.
The holy algorithm.
And subscribe, because I got writing content on this channel. I got writing content on this channel. Wow, where's your heart?
It's okay.
Speaking of that writing content, they'll be on screen now for the playlist for the Skylar Grant podcast, and for the best choice of what you're looking for in your writing thing will be up there. If you're listening to this after the season 1 has ended, there will be a link on here for the entire audiobook for Legends of the Godchild. If you want to listen to it there. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.